Hello then, I'm Nick Lyall and I chair the National Raptor Persecution Priority Delivery Group, and I'm here with Mark Thomas, the head of the RSPB investigations team. Mark, can you just tell me how long you've been bird watching and in particular how long you've had an interest in birds of prey?
I've been watching birds since being really, really young. I think it began with dinosaurs. Kids kind of go through dinosaur phase, and then it was birds, and birds really stuck. And then birds of prey. Birds of prey came out of all the birds. They're the best birds and the most magnificent birds, and the birds you want to see. They're the birds that are the hardest to see. So kind of birds of prey, and that passion has always been there. And then when I left university, I only ever wanted to work for the RSPB and only ever wanted to work with birds of prey. So it's a perfect match for me, really. What about yourself?
Yeah, so I was an inspector with Northants Police probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And the area I covered was part of the area where the red kite was reintroduced. So I had that personal affiliation with you know, being responsible for looking after the nest sites and the aviaries and other bits and pieces, knowing that they were on my patch and you know, that it was important that we got involved. And ever since, you know, I've always lived in and around that area, and red kites have always been overhead.
It's amazing seeing them here. So when I first started here 20 years ago at the lodge, red kite was a really rare bird, as you know. And now, literally, I took a guided walk about a week ago, and the first birds we saw were 3 red kites, and they were all really low over everybody. Everyone was amazed, amazing views. They are an absolute iconic bird, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I think it's the forked tail, the way they just seem to hang in the sky, and trying to break some of those myths around, you know, they're a bird of prey, but actually, you know, they're not going to go chasing after your chickens and your cat. So, you know, so the persecution issue then, something I've been involved in now for a number of months, something you've been involved in for an awful lot longer. What can we do with the help of the public through Operation Owl and other bits and pieces? What can we do, and how can we go about doing it?
There's several different things. So the public are the eyes and ears, definitely. So lots of reports we get from members of the public who will see something. They perhaps might not realise the significance of what they're seeing, but they ring us and they give us that information, and it could be really valuable because it could be a piece of info that links several other things together, and then obviously we would share that with the police. So that's the kind of public aspect of it. There's then obviously like the partnerships that you are chairing, and they're really vital. People have to keep talking. There has to be a solution somewhere to prevent people illegally killing birds of prey. And I think what has to come across quite strongly is, you know, people are choosing to kill birds of prey. It's not an accident. It's not a mistake. They're deliberately doing that, and we have to break that some way. And you know, you have a real pivotal role as the chair of the group in doing that.
We've been working now together on raptor persecution for a number of months, and the RSPB in a number of areas lead the way in terms of, you know, some of the work that they're doing, some of the initiatives that they've introduced to support tackling raptor persecution. Can you just talk me through what they are?
Yeah, sure. I mean, one of the major things is satellite tagging of birds of prey. It's been a real breakthrough because this tells you where birds are dying, it tells you how they're dying, or it tells you if they're vanishing. So that's a key thing, particularly for birds like hen harriers, which are really in England are on the brink of you know, extinction basically. Another thing we've recently produced is the Raptor Crime Map Hub, and what that does, it puts the incidents in the public domain. So you log onto the website, you can put in your postcode or your street, and you can see whether there's been any persecution incidents or any convictions, and that goes back a number of years. And what we're doing at the moment is we're trying to get that number of years extended by putting some of the historic data in there. And I think the final thing is we've launched a raptor persecution hotline. And what that is, people can telephone that number in complete confidence and report crimes against birds of prey to the RSPB. It might be in circumstances where the people don't want to report it to the police for whatever reason, and we're trying to target this to the shooting community in particular. So people who are trapped in a job, they're being told to kill birds of prey and they don't want to, and they need to speak to someone. So we've got these 3 things working, and they all seem really successful at the moment.
Excellent. So 3 really unique initiatives then that will support the public, helping us tackle raptor persecution. So Operation Owl then, talking about Operation Owl in a little bit more detail, you know, us coming together with a number of other partner agencies that sit around the table at the Priority Delivery Group, you know, focused on tackling together raptor persecution. Another way of raising awareness of the fact that it takes place, because a lot of people don't even know it exists. No. And actually we've been out this morning looking at peregrines. And to be fair, most people wouldn't have even known that they were there, would they? You know, that work together really important to highlight actually the gracefulness and the beauty of what's around you in the environment, and actually how that people can come together and support us in tackling the issue.
I think the partnership is going to be key to resolving some of those issues. You know, it's great that we're all sitting around a table. There's very mixed opinions and very mixed views, very different backgrounds. You know, you've got the shooting community and the conservation organisation. You've got the police. Things would definitely be worse if that group was not there and that dialogue was not taking place. What we want to see is everybody working together to basically stop this thing happening. How do we remove raptor persecution? What are the drivers to it? Who is pulling the strings? You know, there's probably only a very small number of people at the very top orchestrating this. Operation Owl is brilliant. You're taking it out to the community. It can be rolled out in all the police force areas where raptor persecution is really prevalent, and we see that as a real kind of symbolic operation for raptor persecution and stopping raptor persecution.
Absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about shooting, and that's often linked to raptor persecution, but what are the common ways of persecution are there? What else is there that takes place?
Typically you will find raptors shot, poisoned, trapped, their nest destroyed. All of those things happen. We get reports of those all of the time, and there can be seasonal peaks and troughs in this kind of thing. You know, so poisoning, particularly late winter when the natural food supplies have gone, and if you're going to put a poison bait out, that's the kind of time when birds of prey are going to come in and you know, essentially be killed through that method. So
easy dinner.
So yeah, exactly. And then you've got the breeding season. So on some locations, birds of prey are killed prior to the breeding season to prevent them breeding and more birds of prey appearing in that environment. We obviously collect intelligence and we collect data on bird of prey persecution, and it's not something that is going away, and I think that's really difficult for us to swallow. It's a very Victorian, outdated practice, but it's still prevalent, it's still happening.
It's been great talking to you, Mark. Thank you.
And you.